What's going on, everybody? Josh Callaway alongside James D. Jackson with 24/7 Sports at the Cotton Bowl and the Texas State Fair in Dallas, Texas, where Oklahoma is 6-0. The Sooners win an all-time classic Red River shootout, rivalry shootout, whatever you call it. It was an awesome game. The Sooners beat the Longhorns 34-30 on a last-second touchdown pass from Dillon Gabriel to Nick Anderson in the corner of the end zone. James, I feel this game felt like 3 games. I mean, so much happened. There's so much to digest. We're not going to even come close to covering it all. You're going to want to tune into the podcast on Monday. I can tell you that already. But just initial reaction, James, to this, all-time thriller. I mean, the OU Texas game has had some classics. We had an all-time game 2 years ago that I didn't know if it would ever be topped in 2021. This game is really close in that conversation for one of the greatest to ever be played on this field. Just how do you absorb what you saw today? Unbelievable win for Oklahoma. Unbelievable game.
It's like we talked about earlier in this season. Whenever this team, a team scores on OU or they come within one touchdown, the offense on the next drive goes out and scores a touchdown. And that happened here again. I mean, it was like, OU couldn't do anything in that second half. After the first drive of the second half, they couldn't move the ball at all. And that's why Texas got back into the game. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as Texas scores a touchdown and it goes ahead or whatever it is, OU responds. And it responds. And that they make us look crazy because all of us predicted Texas to win this game. We all thought it'd be really close.
Yeah, we did.
And it was close.
Taking our
but we
L's
just thought
right
Texas
now
would come over. So I guess we have to give our apologies now to Sooners fans and Sooner Nation because of what we predicted. But that's a crazy game. It's so hard to predict something like that could happen. I mean, just as you said, it's an instant classic, probably up there top 5 overall games that we've seen in the Cotton Bowl of what OU and Texas has been.
Yeah, this was textbook OU Texas. Guys stepping up, stars making plays, gigantic momentum swings. You think the game's over like 5 different times. Oklahoma goes up by 10. It feels like they're pulling away at Texas. And all of a sudden they're up by 3 late, but Oklahoma gets the touchdown to win it. Offensively, obviously the story is Dillon Gabriel. We talked about it in the podcast on Thursday. Doesn't have any big wins at Oklahoma. Not all his fault at all. Mostly not his fault, actually, because last year's team had a lot of problems. Obviously, this year's off to a great start, but hadn't played anybody. Well, you can just throw that right in the trash now. A monster performance from him, specifically on the ground. They still couldn't run the ball with their running backs, but it didn't matter because Gabriel was going 8 yards per carry, over 100 yards himself. What was the stat that we got dropped right as we were finishing first guy in OU history to ever throw for 250 and run for 100 in the OU Texas game?
That's unbelievable.
Not even Kyler Murray did that? How could that be? Dillon Gabriel was phenomenal in this game, including, of course, the no-huddle, game-winning drive. 1:17 on the clock, no timeouts, down 3, OU Texas. He goes right down the field, hits a game-winning touchdown pass to Nick Anderson. This offense was really good today, James. Obviously headlined by Dillon Gabriel, who was fantastic.
We said it on the podcast. The only way that OU was going to win this game is if Dillon Gabriel played an amazing game. And I said, if he goes out there and has a great game, I'm all for the Heisman hype. All the talk to the players, the receivers have all been telling us, just whenever we talk to him in the press conferences, things like that, I'm all for it. And I've seen it. I seen it today. He should be in the Heisman. Watch all of it, everything. He's there. He's the guy that can handle all that. He's calm and he's under pressure. He handled it well. The touchdown pass to Nick Anderson to win the game. I mean, he's
guys all over. The guys draped on him.
Guys are all over him, and he just finds him in the back of the end zone and he just gave him a perfect ball. I mean, that's exactly what you see. It was a Heisman moment for him. Like one of those things one of those plays where you win the game pretty much on your own, because that whole drive was no timeouts, about a minute left on the clock, and he just drove him down, no worries at all, seemed like, and just played his best drive of the year.
Yeah, definition of a Heisman moment. Like we both kind of articulated there. To drop that and to Nick Anderson, like we said, he was running the ball well. He ran for a touchdown in this game. He was phenomenal. And guys who have been critics, myself included, I mean, you have to give it up to him. He was very, very good when the chips were down, and he's got to be in the Heisman race now. He has to be. He was fantastic. His numbers have been great, and now he did it against a top 5 team and beat him. He's got to be in the mix now moving forward. Jalil Farouk, also phenomenal in this game today. He continues to really, after kind of a slow-ish start to his season, he's, it seems like he's starting to really rev up and being that number 1 guy we thought he'd be coming into the season. Defensively, obviously there was a couple of, tough stretches in this game, but pretty darn good again. You stand them up. First and goal at the 1. They didn't score. 4 straight stuffs. You got 2 more interceptions today. They are interception machines. Also forced a fumble in this game. James, obviously, again, there were stretches where it wasn't, they got beat up a little bit. Texas got a lot of really good skill players, but for the most part, the defense answered the bell again. Jaron Kanik was everywhere in this game. what can you say? Defensively, it was pretty darn good too.
I mean, you can still look at it like this. I think this is a top 3 defense in the nation. I mean, even with all the problems they had, it's still a bend don't break type of defense. I mean, they give up these long plays, but it's so hard to score on the Sooners when you get in the red zone. I mean, still on gave up, was it 2 touchdowns as a defense? The rest was special teams and
the
field
punt
goal
block.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's against a really good offense in Texas. I mean, this defense is really, really good, and they get all the way down to the 1-yard line, Josh, with 4 tries at it. It was a completely new change, and the defense did not allow it. They couldn't get 1 yard. They couldn't get 1 yard on the defense. I mean, the defense is incredible. It's really that good. It's really that good. Everything that you wanted to learn about them was confirmed. Everything was confirmed for them today.
Yeah, they answered the bell big time. That goal line stand was an all-timer, and like you kind of the point you made off the top. Defense was really good in this game. I mean, if that punt block doesn't happen for a touchdown, this game was 27-10 if you take that punt block away. I know you can't really do that. It's a football play, but the punt block was kind of keeping Texas in it for a long time. Now, they figured out they've been a really good second-half team. Then, to your point that you made right at the beginning of this, when the defense struggled a little bit, the offense picked them up. Touchdown drive. We've seen that every game this year. And so here they are. They're 6-0 now. The bye week next. They're going to be solid favorites every game the rest of the way, outside of a potential Big 12 championship game, probably against these guys. We'll see when we get there. But, James, the time to get greedy, if you're an OU fan, is now. You're 6-0. You beat Texas. The goals and the aspirations just got a lot bigger. This is no longer, at the beginning of the year, we all talked about on the podcast, what would be a successful season? We all thought 10 wins. They should get at least 10 with this schedule, all these things. You can start to think big things, playoff type things now after this kind of win. Forecast it for us. What's your temp check? How far can this Oklahoma team go after a win like this?
And I also want to give Gentry Williams his shout out because the way he started the game and got the interception that kind of started everything for this team.
That was
this OU
tone
team,
setter.
Just they keep getting turnovers, and then that's what's helping them out. But as you all said, you all had 10 wins. I had 11, right? I said my bold prediction.
You had 12.
Well, yeah, 12. My bold prediction
11
was
regular season,
OU will lose this game in the River Rivalry and then come back and beat Texas in the Big 12 championship. Now, after seeing what they just did, I mean, the undefeated season, it's not crazy to say now. It's not. I mean, I think OU will beat Texas in the Big 12 championship game. I think when you look at this game, you talked about it. It should have been a 2-score win for OU. They're going to queue up some of those issues, kind of figure some things out, and by the time that this comes around in that time of the year, when OU really gets going, we've seen it time and time again. OU just gets going in that late year part of the game. They're going to do it. I think they're going to do it. Now, I'm going to stick to that. I'm going to stick to it.
Fascinating to see the national perception of Oklahoma now because, I mean, the whole conversation coming in was obviously they've played very well. I think almost everybody acknowledges that, but the knock on them was the schedule. They hadn't played anybody of real note. Well, you just played a Texas team that a lot of people thought was the best team in the country. Now, they're only number 3 in the AP poll, but there was a solid group out there that thought they were number one team in the country, and Oklahoma beat them today. Straight up, straight up beat them. So we'll see where they go from here. The bye week next, like I said.
They've covered in every game. OU's played
6-0 against the spread.
Exactly what people expect of them. They go out and they cover. No matter who they play to their expectations. They don't play down to the teams, and that's a good recipe for success.
Absolutely. We gotta get out of here. There's so much more we could talk about. That's why the podcast on Monday is gonna be really good. We loop Tom Green into the mix. There's so many angles of this game to talk about. You gotta be careful not to go too long. But a great win for Oklahoma. One of the all-time OU Texas classics. The last Big 12 edition of this game, and it was an all-timer. James, that touchdown to Nick Anderson was as loud as I've heard any stadium that I've been, and I've been fortunate, to get to go to some pretty cool places doing this job, and it was. I thought the place was going to collapse. It was so loud in here. It was louder, I think, than 2021 with the Caleb Williams comeback. I think it was better than that. This was an unbelievable atmosphere at an all-time OU Texas game. Great for your first one. How do you feel about that?
Outstanding. And the way they got it in Oklahoma's side of the field as well. So
Exactly.
It's even more. I feel like it's louder when you see it in that turn when it's just like it happens on that end zone. I mean, that was an amazing game. I mean, both teams were very good coming into it, which made it so exciting. And you got to give credit to Texas. They both delivered on a good game. It wasn't one side just took over and just hammered it home and, people are changing the channel. It was a game you watched all the way through, and that was the fun part. And OU was able to pull it out. And it's always fun when your team can be the one to pull it out in a crazy situation like that.
Sure. Oklahoma wins a thriller, 34-30. They down the number 3 Texas Longhorns to go to 6-0. Bye week next. UCF at home the week after the bye, which is obviously Dylan Gabriel's old team, Jeff Lebby's old team as well. So that'll be kind of fun to talk about a little bit the next couple of weeks. But obviously Monday, the Sooners Illustrated podcast, the two of us, Tom Green, we're going to break down every angle of this amazing Oklahoma win. There's already a lot of reaction on the site right now, Oklahoma.247sports.com, between James, Tom Green, and Colin Kennedy getting in there. Post-game reaction from Brent Venables, Dylan Gabriel, the coordinators, and a slew of other players will be up on the YouTube channel in due time, very shortly. So be sure to keep up with all those places to get all the reaction. This is your time, Oklahoma fans. Soak this in. Feel good about this for a while. Take it all in. Oklahoma beats Texas 34-30 to win the Red River rivalry to go to 6-0. That's it for now. We'll be back, obviously, on the bye week, the podcast Monday. Then, like we said, UCF back in Norman in a couple of weeks. For James D. Jackson, I'm Josh Callaway, signing off from the Cotton Bowl for now. An all-time classic at the Red River Showdown. It never fails to deliver.